I haven't mentioned it yet, but Elasticsearch actually versions the documents that we index. Before you get too excited, I should mention that it's a very simple form of versioning and not a revision history of documents. Elasticsearch only stores the most recent version of a document, so the versioning doesn't mean that you can go back in time and see what a given document looked like in the past. What Elasticsearch does is to store an _version metadata field together with the documents that we index. The field's value starts at 1 and is incremented by 1 every time a document is updated or deleted. In the case of deleting a document, Elasticsearch will retain the version number for 60 seconds by default. If we index a new document with the same ID within 60 seconds, the version will be incremented. Otherwise, it will be reset to 1. If you retrieve a document by its ID, you will see this metadata field within the response. For search queries, which we'll get to later in the course, the field is not included within the results automatically, but Elasticsearch can easily be instructed to do so. This is the default type of versioning that's used and is referred to as internal versioning. There is another type of versioning that you can use, which is called external versioning. This versioning type is meant for situations where you maintain a document's version outside of Elasticsearch, such as within a database. An example could be that you use a relational database as the primary data store and index data into Elasticsearch to make it searchable. To use external versioning, you specify both the version that Elasticsearch should store, as well as the version type. The version that you specify is constrained to being a natural number. On your screen, you can see an example of how that's done with the Index API. So what is the point of this versioning, you might wonder? First of all, it enables you to tell how many times a document has been modified, although that's probably of limited value. To be honest with you, this form of versioning is not really used anymore, or at least it shouldn't be. The reason is that it has previously been the way to do optimistic concurrency control. We'll get into what that is in the next lecture. However, with the addition of primary terms and sequence numbers, this way of versioning is not best practice anymore. The _version metadata field is still available for whatever you might want to do with it, but its use is probably quite limited. So why did I even bother telling you about it? Because you might encounter this field in one way or another, such as for doing optimistic locking for applications that use a legacy version of Elasticsearch. Alright, so enough talking. Let's see how we can accomplish optimistic concurrency control with Elasticsearch.